Okay, so Shalom Ubracha and Shavua Tov, and we're entering now the domain of Yitzchak Avinu. We just finished Avram Avinu, and now we're going to Yitzchak in preparation for Yaakov. Everything is to get to Yaakov. The Midrash says, the Zohar says, the whole goal of Avram and Yitzchak is to get to Yaakov, because that's where the complete balance is. Yaakov is called Yaakov Shlema, the one who's complete. But first we have to go through Yitzchak. And Yitzchak's challenges, or Yaakov's challenges, or our challenges of Esav Admoni. So these parshas are interesting, it's exciting, and it's also the evolving of our roots and our foundations. In other words, Avram Avinu was like building the foundation of Chesed, and now Yitzchak Gvura, which you do need in Judaism, you need in life. Gvura, you need to take a hold of things. You can't just be loose, but then at the same time you can't be just dinim and difficult and rigid. You need a balance. To have a balance of Chesed and Gvura, which is Yaakov. So that's what we're getting to B'ezrat Hashem in these parshiot B'ezrat Hashem. And then Yosef, and then Moshe. All this is developing our attributes. Every year we read the parshas again and again and again because we're rebuilding our attributes on a newer level, a newer dimension, Baruch Hashem. So with that said, we are now going to enter this letter, continue this letter that Rav Nosson wrote, Dafka in Parshat Vayishlach. And he was living the Parsha, of course. He was writing this discourse, Hoda'ah Vav, and such insights on the whole story of the battling of Yaakov with the angel of Esav. He says, for example, that the wording is, and it's a song from Rav Shlomo Karlebach, right? Vaya'avek ish imo, vaya'avek, avak. They were wrestling, the angel and Yaakov, and it was bringing up dust up to the heavenly throne. So Rav Nosson says, avak, which is dust, normally accumulates on something which is stagnant and sad and depressed. When a person is sad and depressed, he doesn't move around. He's lethargic, he's in bed, he doesn't want to do anything. So the battle of Rav Nosson explains when the angel was trying to la'avek on Yaakov, was to bring his descendants to depression, to sadness. So that says, Vayar ki lo yacholo. He saw that Yaakov is such a happy person. Like that? He was such a happy person, he couldn't get to him, so he hit him in his thigh. What's the thigh? What's the yerech? The yerech is the place of Yaakov's loins, his reproductive organs, referring to his descendants, his offspring. So the angel figured, okay, I can't bring him to depression, I'll hit his descendants. Which ones? The descendants who are considered the legs. If we look at Yaakov's body as the whole Jewish nation, so the head of Yaakov is like the beginning of the Jewish nation, the torso is like the Tanaim and Amoraim, and now we're at the like Rishonim, Achronim, we're at the very end now. So he hit Yaakov in the legs, and then on his thigh, as if to say, I'm going to hit the Jews at the end, before Mashiach comes, with the Makkah of depression. And that's what we see today. Many people hit with sadness and depression. But still, Yaakov got healed from the limping. Meaning, he says, Rav Nosson, and he's writing this while this letter is being written. That's the same time period of this letter, that 1844. He was writing this discourse, and he was so into it. It has 75 chapters, this halacha. It's one of the longest discourses Rav Nosson ever wrote, and one of the most beautiful ones about the power of Simcha. So the idea is that Yaakov, he was able to get out of the limping, and Rav Nosson says that means that if the descendants of Yaakov reconnect to Yaakov, reconnect to the tzaddikim at the caliber of Yaakov, then they, even if they fall into depression, they can get back up. B'ezrat Hashem. So that shows the necessity why today, more than any other time in history, we need access and connection to tzaddikim, but not any tzaddikim, true tzaddikim. Rabbi Nachman introduces this term of a true tzaddik. Until now, we're taught there are wicked people, Benonim, and tzaddikim. And all of a sudden, Breslov throws in a new term, true tzaddik. What in the world? What's a true tzaddik? So Rav Nosson explains a lot. The true tzaddik is a tzaddik who's able to pinpoint which advice in the Torah is going to help you to come out of the darkness. There's many mitzvot in the Torah, and every mitzvah is meant to lift you up. However, there are certain mitzvot which are really like the jackpot button. If you know how to connect to those specific mitzvot, those specific advices of the tzaddikim which are connected to certain mitzvot, if you choose them and you know how to locate them, then you have quick access to get up. It's very, very important. So the idea of true tzaddikim, and Yaakov is called Emet. Titen Emet leYaakov. Yaakov personifies also truth. So the idea of true tzaddikim more than any other time, that's our way against the angel of Esav who attacks people today, whether through technology, the media, things happening in the world, all the crazy things that Esav is responsible for, which on a modern day term could be the influence of Western culture on our brains, on our minds, on our education, on our perspective, everything that they got from us through Hollywood and everything else, they're able to get in. So to counter that, we need a true tzaddik. We need to be able to counter the limping that he tries to bring us into depression. Okay, so Rav Noson's writing these ideas, and he is not like a regular person. Rav Noson, he's going through challenges like everyone, but he's so uplifted because he's connected to this live wire. He's connected to Rabbi Nachman's light and teachings, because Rabbi Nachman opened his mind. He said, I'm going to open your mind to my lessons. And he had that access. He had this amazing access to a level of holiness and energy that bypasses any darkness from the galut, that the galut that can do to a person. He was able to bypass that. So Rav Nosson is living on a different plane. So we're in this tiny letter. It's a tiny letter. There's like no chidushim in the letter, but everything has a hint to deeper meaning. So we're holding now towards the end of the letter. Rav Nosson's about to stop writing. And he says like this. He quotes 4 verses. We've gone through already like 2 of these sources now, and we're going to go into the 3rd one, which is the second mentioned. We jumped a little. So he says like this, Rav Nosson. Ve'or haboker higia, the light of the morning has arrived. And this term, or haboker, we went into. It's a verse that we saw from King David's final words before he passed away at the end of Shmuel Bet. Okay? We went into that last week. And now this second verse we're going to go into today. Hashem boker tishma kolenu. He's rephrasing a verse from Psalms chapter 2. Hashem boker tishma koli. That's why I like to get the printout so I can read to you. I want to see inside what he's going to say. So Hashem boker tishma kolenu. Hashem, in the morning, listen to our voices. And then he goes back to Boker da Avraham. Boker da Avraham yagen aleinu. May the morning of Avraham shine upon us. We went into this last week. The Zohar connects this term, Boker da Avraham, with the verse that King David said. King David was saying, just to recap a little, that or Boker, that the light of his descendant Mashiach will shine like the morning sun light, but not like the shining on the grass, the blades of grass. All this is in that verse there in Samuel 2 at the end. Not like after there's like a rainfall on grass and then there's dawn. And then the sun that shines on the wet grass, it creates a strong glitter. So he's saying, but the light of the morning won't be like that light which is after a rainfall on the grass. It'll be greater. So the Zohar says, but you just said that, the best example of light in the morning is that after a rainfall on the grass. So what's it referring to? The Or Boker of Avraham. And we went into this last week, and we'll go into this a bit more about the details. Why Avraham had the merit to have the morning called after him. And it's connected also to this second verse. Hashem Boker Tishma Kolenu. Boker d'Avraham Yagen Aleinu. May the morning of Avraham, which is basically that Avraham was able to break his rationale, his frustration. Hashem told him, you're going to have offspring from Yitzhak. And then he says, okay, now I want you to go offer your son. So there's frustration here. You, Hashem, on one hand, you said, I'm going to have descendants through him. And then you say to offer him as a sacrifice. And Avraham Avinu so fought it. It says, Vayashkem Avraham Baboker. He got up extra early to do this mitzvah of going to sacrifice his son. So he broke his frustration with such a level of emunah and simcha, which was crazy. So he gained the Academy Award. Then he earns the title that the morning is called the morning of Avraham, which is a shift from darkness of the night to the morning star, the morning shining sun. So we went into this last week a little bit, okay? Boker d'Avraham yagen aleinu, and then the 4th verse, which is from the Tikkun HaKlali. It's Psalm 42. Yomam Yitzaveh Hashem Chazdo, and in the day may Hashem command His kindness, Vishuato, Lesamechenu, Vishuato B'chol et. Rav Nosson doesn't normally do this. He's quoting here 4 verses. Okay? 4 verses. Let's take a look at the second verse. Hashem Boker Tishma Kolenu. Hashem, in the morning, may you listen to our voice. Before we go into this, we have to go into what the Zohar says. The Zohar says something amazing about Avram Avinu. This is Parshat Lech Lecha. What was so special? Oh, here we go. Here's the pages. Thank you. This is the Zohar right over here. Amazing. It's Zohar in Parshat Miketz. No, this is not it. This is from last week. This is the wrong one. This is from last week. I hope they got it. Okay, I'm said it. There's more pages. This is the pasuk, the Shmuel Bet, chapter 23, verse 4. That's the Or Boker, about the shining on the blades of the grass. That's this verse, and here's the Zohar that talks about the Avram Avinu connected to that. Fine, that's over here. Whatever, you can see this if you want. But the thing we want to say is from a different Zohar, Parshat Lech Lecha. The Zohar says like this, and it's amazing. Avram Avinu began to think about life at the age of 3. When you think about that, that's crazy. Also, last week's parsha, Rivka at age 3, marrying somebody at age 40. What in the world? Yitzchak is 40. Rashi makes the calculation in the parsha this week. Okay, he's 40, and he waited for her to be eligible to have marriage, which is age 3. And age 3, Rivka, Eliezer is davening, please let the girl be a girl of chesed. Since a 3-year-old child having already attributes of chesed, I'll give you to drink, I'll give your camels to drink. What in the world? So it's obviously there's something deep here. Also Avram Avinu being 3 at the age of 3, Rivka age 3. You know, what is this? There's obviously some depth in here. This is for another time. But the Zohar says, at the age 3, Avram Avinu began to wake up and began to ask questions. You know, in life, you're brought into something and you're expected to accept it, right? A child wakes up in the morning, they take him to nursery, kindergarten, he has his sandwich, his lunch box and everything. He doesn't ask questions. He doesn't ask, where am I going? Why are we doing this? Nothing. He's like, okay, it's routine. The child also sees the sun. There's morning, wake up, and his pajamas, he brushes his teeth, he gets dressed, he goes to school, he sees the sun. No questions. Everything's understood. That's how life is. You're expected to accept the scenario you're thrown into. You don't ask. We don't tell a child, we have to explain you every single detail of life. that will be afterwards. Rabbi Nachman praises also the Torah. The Torah also starts like this. No questions asked. Bereshit bara Elokim. In the beginning of the creation of the world, when Hashem created, no questions. Oh, there was a God and He created the world. No, the Torah assumes it's understood. There's the creator of a world, and that's it. Accept it. So there's the part of the Torah of life where it's expected you can accept it with emunah, with eventual understanding. But life in general also is like that. Just like in life they do that, the Torah also does that. But Avram Avinu at age 3, he had questions. He said, why are they doing all this thing? His father Terach had tons of idols. Okay, he was an idol worship, idols. He sold idols. So he had a store with tons of idols. So a little boy, age 3, seeing all these idols, he could say, oh, it's normal, or he can say, whoa, that's too much. And the fact, Terach was very extreme in his evil. That's why he merited to have such a son. They say about him, I'm trying to remember this vividly, that he calculated to be with his wife bedafka when she's impure. He wanted to be with her dafka when impure. So in heaven, the prosecuting angels saw, this is a good opportunity to send to this world a holy neshama and keep it trapped. Because the guy's an idol worshiper, and he wants to purposely activate evil forces, so he wants to be with his wife when she's impure, even though the Goyim didn't have the laws of Nida, but they had a type of superstition, even before the Torah was given, of not to do that, not that conduct. And Terach said, I want to go against the accepted conduct, and he had relations with his wife then. So the prosecuting angels, or the angels of the chambers of exchanges, that's another term, they swapped. They took Avram's neshama, which is a high neshama, and they put it in such a low, debased situation scenario, hoping it'll stay there, and then the evil forces can gain the nourishment of the potential good of this neshama of Avraham Avinu, while he stays stuck in the evil. And guess what? The Zohar says, and Arizal says, this is a trick done many, many times, because evil, up there also, wherever, is so convinced that they're going to win, that they're going to get away with things, they forget that there's a possibility that it won't work out. But they say, it's not going to happen, because the majority of the cases, it doesn't happen. So they assume another case. So what they didn't realize, that Avraham Avinu broke free from this shackle of this concealment, and he began to ask questions. And he came out from such a bad situation where Terach had tons of idols. So because he had tons of idols, the average child will also, if he has some brain in his head, he'll begin to ask, this is not normal. And that's what Avraham Avinu did. He began to ask questions. So the Zohar says in Parashat Lech Lecha, we'll see the Zohar soon inside, that Avraham Avinu said, okay, I want to, for the first time in my life, he's alive 3 years already, and he sees every day the sun rises and sunsets. Sun rises, sunset, and there's the moon at night. He said, today I want to probe into this, and he began just to look at the sun. He spent one day, this person is looking at the sun rising and shining, and then setting at the end of the day. So when he saw the vast power of the sun, of the light, that just before there was total darkness in the world, and now this sun is shining the entire world, so the Zohar says he began to think, I might as well worship the sun. Everybody's gaining from the sun. It's shining its light on everyone. Everything has the light of the sun shining on. You can't hide from it unless you build an underground bunker or whatever. But average people, they're exposed to the sun. They're influenced from the sun. So therefore, I should worship the sun. But then he examined, it sets. And then the moon came out and there's darkness. So he began to think, wait a second, all that light is gone? All that light of the moon, of the sun, shining and influencing everyone. Now there's total darkness, that this darkness with the moon can cover up totally the light of the sun. So it must be that the darkness of the moon is greater than the light of the sun. So because it can do that job, so I might as well worship the moon. Okay? So then after the night, and again the next day comes, and he sees how again the sun rises and wipes out the total darkness of the previous night. So he says, so who's right here? There was the light, the power of the sun, of the light of the day of the sun, and then the power of the darkness of the night, and then it's swallowed up again. So he says, I'm now going to worship who's above both of them. There must be something. If this is happening, then there must be something which is above the sun and the moon, and that's what pushed him to perceive there must be a God above the sun and the moon. Because the idols of Terach also included worshippings under the sun, under the moon. So he went directly, sun and the moon, but now above the sun and the moon, which is what pushed him to look for Hashem. That's what got him, okay? So this is what the Zohar says. On a deeper level, what Avraham Avinu was able to probe is that the life has in it the shiny parts of life, and then the dark parts of life, and each one comes like to take over and push over the other one. You have the happy times, and then you have the dark times of the life, and then again the light comes, but then the dark. So who's in charge here? There's a frustration. What's right? Darkness like evil, the bad, and the light of the day is the good, and it's like non-stop battle. Like where is it? Life is not like structured. Okay, everything is just good. You see, there's darkness. So who's right? What this refers to is Avraham Avinu was able to bypass what's called, like we just mentioned earlier, the chambers of exchanges. The chambers of exchanges is the ability of the evil to fool people. The majority of people, it's like Lahavdil, the movie Matrix, where you're living a fake existence and you don't even know about it, right? The majority of people, they're stuck. They don't know what's right and what's wrong, okay? And there's such confusions and there's frustrations. So people don't know, and they're stuck. They don't know what's right, and they're living accepting. They think, like for example, all doctors, they're God. Whatever a doctor says, they're right. But other people say no, doctors make mistakes. Rabbi Nachman said, be careful of the doctors. Don't trust the doctors. That's an example. But the world, some people, they believe the doctors, and how dare you not listen to your doctor, put yourself in danger and this and that. But then we see doctors, they make big mistakes and they kill. What's going on? So, but people have something which is muvan me'elav, understood on its own that this is the right thing, and you got to be crazy to do this and not to do that. So people accept status quo as being right, okay? That's the majority of people. But the other people say, they ask questions, like Avram Avinu people, where they say, wait a second, there's something here missing. Something is missing here. For Rav Nosson, he says this swap, for example, is hinted to in the prohibition of lo tilbash. A man is forbidden to wear garments of a woman, and a woman is forbidden to wear garments of a man. So he explains the idea of a man, with garments of a man, is the idea of the intellect. Intellect. The man is the idea technically, I mean, a woman also has intellect. But because the man has more of a mitzvah of learning Torah, learning the details, so he's more based in the area of intellect, whereas the woman is more based in the basis of emunah. She also has an intellect, but there's more emunah. You can't deny that women have a stronger leverage of emunah more than men. We see that. The davenings, we see it. Thank you. This is it, yeah. There's another page, I think. It's coming out. All right, thank you. This is the Zohar over here. We'll go into that soon. All right? So it's accepted that a woman, she represents emunah. So he says the prohibition of a man wearing a woman's garment and a woman wearing a man's garment is where in life where you're supposed to, also a person has in him the feminine aspect and the masculine aspect. Okay, every person. The masculine aspect is the intellect. The feminine aspect is the emunah. So now, where you're supposed to put intellect, you put emunah there. And where you're supposed to put emunah, you put intellect there. So like for example, he says the atheists and the philosophers. Where they're supposed to put emunah, no, we have to understand, how could there be a God, chas v'shalom, all these questions of philosophy. We're expected to put emunah, they put intellect. And then the opposite also. Where they're supposed to put intellect, what are you wasting your time on Club Med and movies and enjoying but this is how society is. They just plaster it. This is how life is and culture. You're accepting the culture, society of emunah, but then when it comes to the Torah, which is where you're supposed to put the emunah, you put an X on it. No, we have to ask all the questions against the Torah. So Rav Nosson says this is the prohibition of lo tilbash, that you're putting the man's garments on the woman. We're supposed to have emunah, you put intellect, and then we're supposed to have intellect, you put emunah. So it's all messed up. That's society. That's the chambers of exchanges, that they're able to play games with people. And they accept it. People go with it. That's how life is, We do like everybody else. Why are you going nuts trying to eat ketosis and going that? Be normal. Go eat your hamburger. Go eat this. Go buy the cereal, the regular white bread. Why are you going nuts and doing these crazy things? I'm just as an example how people are in their hashkafa. They put emunah where they're supposed to put intellect. Think what you're doing. You're eating sugar and this and that. It's going to hurt you. Look. Yeah, but it's okay. Look, he survived. He's okay. He's alive. No. Fine. They switch. And people always justify. They give arguments where they're supposed to put emunah, they put intellect. No, we have to question here. And where they're supposed to put intellect, they put emunah. It's okay.
And that's the chamber of exchange.
That emanates from the chambers of exchanges. Wherever there's a swap in life, wherever there's many areas, it's due to, you can blame it on the chambers of exchanges. Avram Avinu saw the light of the sun, and then the darkness of the moon, and then swallowed up again by the sun. He says, this can't be. There's someone above this. I'm not going to accept now the light of the sun and then the darkness, and okay, it's normal. How could it be such a magnitude of light from the sun swallowed up by the darkness? And how could it be that now the darkness, which was so pitch black, even though there's a moon and it's waning, it's a waxing moon, and then the sun comes the next day and swallows up also? So Avram Avinu was able to bypass the chambers of exchanges and say there's a God above all this. I'm not going to accept any of this, okay? So he is called Boker d'Avraham. It says that Avraham instituted Shacharit. He's the one who brought in Shacharit. Yitzchak, Mincha, Yaakov, Arvit. They're the ones who davened, but now it became fixed because he asked, okay, so what that Avraham Avinu davened in the morning? Okay, no, we learned from him that all future generations have to daven Shacharit. He was the first one. What's Shacharit? What's Avraham Avinu Shacharit? Shachor, black. That the shift from blackness to reveal the light from the darkness into light, and not to be fooled. That's Avraham Avinu. Okay, that's the idea of a beginning point of being able to make a crack in the game, in being fooled by the Yetzer Hara, to break through, okay? So I'm just waiting for this pasuk. In the meantime, let's take a look at the Zohar. This is the Zohar inside. I explained outside the idea. It says here, mi ha'ir mi mizrach. I'm missing the beginning part of the Zohar. Chaval. Begin the Chama Shimsha Denafik Betzafra Misitra de Mizrach. What was the Zohar began on the previous page? What was so special of Avram Avinu that he's associated with the morning, the shining of the sun? Begin the Chama. This is Lech Lecha, page 86a. Begin the Chama Shimsha Denafik Betzafra Misitra de Mizrach. Natili Taruta Lenafshe Diukut Shabrichu Amar Dahu Malka de Barayati. He saw the sun rising from the east, so he figured he's age 3. This is the king who created me. Such a magnificent light coming, and it's getting closer. Upalach le kol hayom, and he thought to serve the sun that whole day. Leramsha at night, chama shimsha dit kanish. He saw that the sun set. V'siara nahara, and the moon is shining. Amar dahu vaday de shalit alahu pulchana deflachit kol hayoma. The moon must be greater than what I served I wanted to serve the sun the earlier day. Because look, it just overtook it. Because the darkness of the night is able to overpower the day, and it's not shining anymore the day. And began to begin. The commentators say he didn't actually serve Chas Shalom, but he began to think, I'm going to serve the moon. In the morning he sees again the sun is shining. It must be darkness, light, darkness. It has to be from this scenario that there's a king over them, and I'm not going to worship them. And there's a ruler who's guarding over them. So once HaKadosh Baruch Hu saw Avram, you got it, you got the point. You mastered the riddle to bypass the challenge that almost everyone else has fallen into. As soon as HaKadosh Baruch Hu saw that Avram Avinu is looking for him, Avram Avinu didn't know what he was looking for, but he was looking for whoever it is above the sun and the moon. So Hashem picked up the radar. Since Hashem saw Avram Avinu's ratzon was towards him, so that's when Hashem revealed himself to Avram Avinu and began to speak to him. Right? That's the Zohar we read, and that's the explanation we gave on it. Okay, so this is the idea of the morning. Morning is the shift and accepting that there's someone above the night and above the day. Okay, so Hashem Boker Tishma Koli. The Gemara says, so this verse said by King David is an amazing point. He says, Hashem Boker Tishma Koli. What's Boker normally? Boker in the morning happens 2 things. Number 1, the wicked are judged in the morning. And number 2, the tzaddikim are saved in the morning. There's a salvation of the tzaddikim in the morning, and there's a punishment to the wicked are judged, okay? So now, this applies in a person inside himself. You have the Rasha in you, Chas Shalom, and you have the tzaddik inside of you. What's the challenge here? Person wakes up in the morning, they wake up and something goes wrong, like negativity. You woke up late, look at you, you're never gonna make it, and a person has all this rebuke against himself. Like another verse says, "V'tochachti la bekarim." Every morning I wake up, look at the mirror, you're getting older, you're getting fat, you're this and that, right? Who's talking that? Who's saying all that? That's the Rasha, that being the judgment. You're judging, the Rasha is being judged. The evil inside of you, the bad, is being judged, so it's coming in the forefront. It's in the front, okay? And now the thing is, but the tzaddikim are the ones, really, who are saved. Meaning what? It's up to you, Bezrat Hashem, to choose, but I want the tzaddik to be saved from this reshoot. I don't want now that the Rasha should have the upper, okay, the Rasha is being judged inside of me, you're this, you're that. I'm going to give an upper hand to that. I want the tzaddikim to be rescued. So King David is calling out, the commentaries say this, I want to show you inside what it says, it's unbelievable, Rashi and the commentaries. Hashem Boker Tishma Koli. King David is saying, Hashem, in the morning, listen to my voice. Which voice? The voice of the tzaddik, the tzaddikim. Don't let me be like submerged and submitted to the judgment of the wickedness. Let me rather call out to Hashem, but I want to get up in the morning. I want to serve you b'simcha. I want to have a good day. I don't want to be negative and wake up. Because again, when a person wakes up, they were just sleeping. They were just in at 1/60th of death. Okay, wherever they were in dreamland, la la land. And now they woke up. So it's not easy. At the beginning of the day, Rabbi Nachman says it starts very tight. You just woke up. It's like, I remember this commercial. I always say the joke from the 1980s. There was a Dunkin' Donuts commercial, how they're so dedicated to making your donuts on time. So the guy, time to make the donuts, he's waking up and he's half sleeping, time to make the donuts. So you wake up in the morning, it's really hard. It's really difficult because you're coming from a darkness to a light. So again, the Rashayim are being judged, the evil inside of you, look at this, you're that, you're that, you're that, you're that. But then there's the salvation of the tzaddikim. But so King David is saying, Boker tishma koli. If I had a Tehillim here, I can show you the rest of the verse here. I have a Tehillim right over here. You have to see something amazing here. Something really amazing here. So this is chapter 2 of Tehillim, of Psalms. Boker tishma koli, boker e'eroch lecha, va'atzapeh. It says twice the word boker in this verse. Let's find the verse. Sorry, chapter 5. I'm sorry. Chapter 5. Hashem Boker Tishma Koli. Boker, where are you? Come on, yeah, I want to see it. I know you're here. I saw you. Where are you? Hashem. Okay, verse number 4. Hashem Boker Tishma Koli. Boker Eroch Lecha V'atzapeh. So the verse says twice, Hashem, in the morning, listen to my voice. Okay? That's one. So we said, here we go. Here's the commentaries. Thank you. All right, here we go. Hashem, Boker Tishma Koli, Boker Eroch Lecha V'atzapeh. Rashi. Look at Rashi. Baboker ani koreh lecha alehem. Hashem, I call out to you on them, on the enemies. Shu'et mishpat bareshayim. It's a time of judgment for the wicked. Kmo shene'emar, like it says, La bekarim atzmid kol rishi aretz. In the morning I will wipe out all the wicked of the earth. Hashem is talking. And another verse in Isaiah chapter 33. Heye zero'am la bekarim. Hashem, be their arms to smash them in the morning, the enemies. Ki baboker ya'avor. And because in the morning, I'll be able to pass them and pass my enemies. So we interpret it with the insights based on the Chazal, that it's a person also inside a person. The Rashayim are being judged and the Tzaddikim. But the second Boker, okay, that was the first Boker. Boker e'eroch lecha v'atzapeh. In the morning, e'eroch. What is this funny word, e'eroch? Like Shulchan Aruch, a set table? What is this? Boker e'eroch lecha, tfilati azot. I will set forth my prayer on this. E'eroch leshon ma'aracha. So he's saying twice Boker. Rashi doesn't go into why twice. The book called Bina La'itim, he explains something amazing, and this sheds light onto what Rav Nosson is doing, and also what we have to do, and to get the point that's coming out of here. He says here, I'm going to read from inside, I already have it in front of me, the Bina La'itim. He says like this. Ki meharaui shekodem yatchil adam litpalel divrei tfilato. It's only fitting that before a person davens, is davening in the morning, yishhe zman ma lachin atzmo leorer hakavana. It's proper that a person shouldn't go right into davening. You have people, they wake up and they run to davening. No preparation, no nothing. And they're like in a rush to go to work. So part of their daily schedule, they get up at this hour, go to shul, put on their tefillin, and then drink their breakfast, coffee and breakfast, croissant, and go right to work. Okay, it's like a route, a routine, and it's fixed. But he's saying here, the binatim, it's proper that a person should wait before the davening, do some preparation, so in order to daven with concentration, do hachana. Lahaskil lehetiv ma sheyotzi mipiv, to at least have an intellectual grasp, to understand, to focus on what you're saying in your davening, not just a lip service and just say the words, mumbling the words. Shei mesudar metukan yafeh, that the words should come out nicely, organized, structured. למען יקבל באהבה ורצון, so your davening should be more acceptable. וזה השם בוקר תשמע קולי, so we said the first part of the verse, Hashem, in the morning, listen to my voice, רצינו לומר, הבוקר אשר אתה השם תהיה מעוטד לשמוע קולי, Hashem, the upcoming morning that I'm going to be having, that I'm expecting you, I'm anticipating that you are going to listen to my davening, and my davening should be acceptable before you. Hine, for that to happen, I have to wake up extra early. Boker eroch lecha, ani mashkim yoter baboker umakdim. I'm getting up even earlier than the morning. Liot orech lecha umisader mechaven ma she'omar lefanecha. I'm waking up extra early so I can have a preparation for my davening on time. Vatzapeh ve'amtin tchila. I'll wait. ושואש שעה אחת או איזה זמן ראוי להכנה זו ואחר כך אתפלל. ולא אהיה נבהל להתפלל פתע פתאום במהירות תכף ומיד בלי שום הזמנה. I'll do my, and I won't be like someone who's just running, okay, I woke up late, I have to rush the davening, say the davening, blah, 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 because I'm late, okay? This is something phenomenal. The morning actually starts when? At midnight, okay? According to the Kabbalah, if someone wakes up at midnight, they can already do Birkot HaShachar. Birkot HaShachar can be said already from midnight. Some people say no, Birkot HaShachar, it says blessings of the morning. Even in Halacha, in the Shulchan Aruch, it's said that after you wake up, you say Birkot HaShachar. But really, according to the Kabbalah, if you're looking for more, you're looking for the real deal, you should wake up earlier from midnight, and then already you can say the Birkot HaShachar. Okay? Why? Getting up at midnight affords the best preparation for Shacharit. The whole idea, getting up early from midnight, is that you have a head start, that eventually you have the devotions you do after midnight, the learning, the davening, if it's tikkun chatzot, whatever, the goal of all that is now that you can daven shacharit with a clear head. Okay? It's an amazing. So there's a morning which is before the morning. On a pshat level, when it says Vayashkem Avram Baboker, by the Akedah, Parshat Vayera, so Avram woke up extra early. It's a whole diyun in the Gemara of the time, of like, until when do you have for the B'dikat Chametz? They say until Amud HaShachar or until Netz. So they learn out from Avram Avinu that it's already Alot HaShachar. Because when it says Vayishkem Avram Baboker, he was extra early to get up. That's already from Alot HaShachar. Even though the morning sun is Netzach Hama, that's when the morning actually starts. There's still an earlier time from Alot HaShachar. The idea is get up early. Get up earlier, and then you can have a better chance in having your morning prayers done properly. Rav Nosson, the majority of the letters in this book that he writes were written between midnight and the morning prayers. He tells his son, my son, I have to start writing now because the morning is coming. That's exactly in this letter. Rav Nosson was a master of getting up at midnight, preparing to daven, and having that happen. B'ezrat Hashem. More than this, a person now who gets up at midnight and then from there goes into the morning, like Avram Avinu, he sees the shift from the darkness to the sun. Also spiritually, he's gone through the darkness and the light, so he has a better chance to bypass the chamber of exchanges. And like what Rashi says, that in the morning the Rishayim are judged, because now you woke up earlier, you went through the darkness already before. So then when it comes the morning time, the judgment of the Rishayim, the wicked inside of me, is not going to take place anymore, because I preceded it by waking up extra early. And now is the time for the tzaddikim. It says in the morning, Beron Yachad, Kochvei Boker, that in the tzaddikim, they sing in the morning. The time for the singing of the tzaddikim is in the morning. When can you have that? If you have that advantage of getting up early. So then you went through darkness and light. I don't know if you've ever seen, but you wake up extra early, no one's on the streets. It's dead. No one's on the streets. It's only you. When people wake up 2, 3 in the morning to go daven, to go whatever. It's an amazing time, by the way. I know people to experience getting up at midnight and then just going out to the kotel or to Kibrit Tzadikim or a man who go to the forest. It's like a different world. The world is sleeping. You're awake. You're exposed to a darkness, quietness, and yet you're alive. You're like, wow, living an experience which is like beyond the darkness. And this is the idea of the Boker d'Avraham. So it's all connected at the end of the day. I think we covered all the points that I want to go through. So Rav Nosson is saying, Bok Hashem Boker Tishma Kolenu, like like what David HaMelech is saying. Hashem, listen to my voice and subdue the Rishayim, the wickedness of the Rishayim, bring them down. Meaning also, when the bad inside of me tries to say, look at you, look at you, look at that, I'm not listening to that. That's why King David said twice Boker, because for that to really happen, you have to get up extra early. If you get up before the time, so then you already do your hitbodedu, you already do your mishpat, you already judge yourself in that. So when it comes the morning time, the wicked doesn't have to be judged now. I took care of that already earlier. Not in the morning time, which is okay, let's judge the people negative. I already did that before. I already got up earlier. I already did my spiritual exercise to get through that. Now I'm ready to be energetic and happy and besimcha. So Rav Nosson is hinting to that. Hashem Boker Tishma Kolenu. I remember seeing one of the Breslov elders who passed away at the age of 94, Rav Michael Dorfman. Rav Michael Dorfman was someone very special. He never missed a night of getting up at midnight, and like a tractor, like a soldier, every morning nets. I mean, I wish me to have that. But someone was, it's a phenomenal. Every night, midnight, and also waking up to daven nets. I remember once I had the merit to get up extra early, and I was already in shul before he came, and I saw how he walked. He was like 90, 89, 90, and he's walking into the shul with such a simcha, and like a soldier, boom, 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 with such force, putting on his talit and the tefillin, and I was just impressed by seeing, like, he's like a soldier, this guy. It's unbelievable. And it's a training that people who wake up earlier, they have better chances of being happy in the day, okay? But the problem is people are stuck already. They're stuck in depression and sadness. How do you expect them to wake up? So for that, they need a bypass. They need a light from above to activate the morning of Avraham, to give me that injection to have that light to get up in the morning. But going back, Hashem Boker Tishma Kolenu, that's idea. Hashem, listen to my voice, the voice of the simcha of the tzaddikim and not of the wicked, and by that let me Bezat Hashem bypass the mishpat of the Rishayim, and thus have our prayers accepted Bezrat Hashem. So this is an amazing point that Rav Nosson's quoting this verse, and we went at Boker d'Avraham. We have left to go to the fourth verse, and hopefully we'll continue in another month. Bezrat Hashem. All right, thank you. I think it was a good class, and Bezrat Hashem to be continued. Thank you. Thank you, Hashem.